back at it again. What's up, everybody? You're listening to the SnapCast podcast with your hosts, Andy and Brad. And if you're just finding us for the first time, we are a Magic the Gathering podcast that focuses on the financial aspects of the game. We say that we are for casual players with a competitive interest in finance. If you want to learn how to play the game a little cheaper or maybe make some money, we might be the guys to listen to. Or, you know, on a week like this where, man, I've been a musician and a guy that works in higher ed way more than a Magic player this week. How about you?
I mean, I work in higher ed. I own a guitar.
There you go.
Call me a musician. We're the same person.
Hold on. I revealed our special guest a little earlier than I intended. Did you notice we have a special guest this week?
I did not.
Watch this. Oh, are you watching the stream?
I'm trying to watch the stream. The thing is, on Zoom, your camera's completely frozen.
Oh, well.
I'm watching the stream. I just saw it. Yes, I saw that Facebook post. Oh, so good. So good.
So I came home from work today, and I knew my mom was going to come up and visit, which, you know, of course she would show up on the night. The only night that she could come up is the night that we're going to cast. And she had asked me a few months ago, hey, I found this Legolas cutout from 2006, from like the original Fellowship of the Ring release from theaters. Would you be interested? And I was like, I'm not going to say no to and I'll tell you what's that actor's name? I don't even remember.
Well, Legolas.
Legolas.
I mean, it's all filmed on site. Like it's a very real thing. It's just a documentary.
It's a documentary. It's the Lord of the Rings documentary. Well, I can tell you, dude is not that tall in real life because the cutout's like 6 inches taller than I am.
You're not a small guy either.
Well, she showed up at my house before I did and started unloading some stuff, including putting Legolas by my back door. I didn't know, so I pull in my driveway. She's standing there. We have a conversation. I turn around to go unlock my door, and the first thing I see is some dude standing in my doorway, and I like freaked out for a second. Okay.
Oh man.
It was a thing. It was a real thing that happened where Legolas scared the crap out of me.
That was good. You put a post on Facebook of just like Legolas hanging out at your door. It's like that is badass. So what's the plan? Where's he gonna stay?
So other people.
I see we've changed rooms.
I was just gonna say we're back downstairs. This is where the podcast was born, down in this room. So I'm going to make this again back into sort of a production area / gaming room. For those I guess I can move the camera. People can see the big table where we play games, and then bunch of magic card storage. It's kind of hard to do this.
You have magic cards?
I got some magic cards.
Weird.
We got some secret layers tucked in down there. And so Legolas is going to fit right in here at some point. We're going to make this room maybe a little bit more of a game room / production room. I don't know.
Yeah, I see you got the pictures down on the table over there. I know you just did some painting, so.
Oh yeah, well, so funny story, and we painted this wall behind me to shoot video in last year, and I just finally painted. We haven't done this in a while, behind the scenes.
Right. The thing is, like, no one watching besides people that have been to your house had any idea that you only painted one wall.
Well, and that's
in fact, you painted like a wall, and then you like went a little bit more just to make sure,
right,
it was in camera.
That's the beauty of film magic, is that people only see what you show them on camera. They don't see the dirty secrets behind the camera. Now I've got mobile footage. I'm going to make people seasick. Yeah, I haven't quite established this room the way that I want it to be, but we'll decorate the back wall. Legolas is probably going to live in here on one of these walls.
Tell you what, I'll do a full artwork on a whole wall. I'll paint the whole thing.
I appreciate the offer. I'm probably going to pass.
Okay. Hey,
But
it's on the table.
how's the knee feeling?
I'm over it, man. So, what is today? Today is the 18th. So we're 3 days from a month. In 3 days from now, it'll be a month from surgery. I got another 9 days. No, I'll have another 9 days. I have another 12 days until I see my surgeon again. Just hoping I can walk. Just really, really hoping that happens. It feels pretty good. I know it's not stable yet. It's not anywhere near where it needs to be. But like as far as coming out of a surgery where they literally take a power drill 2 holes in your bone, attach another piece of tendon from a different part of your body, and then drill that in place.
Legolas just winced, and he's got a constitution.
Right. So considering all that, I'm doing well. I can't complain too much.
Saw you at the shop again on Friday. I think you ended up playing Lantern again.
Yeah, so I wanted to play Rhinos, and I brought 3 decks. I brought Rhinos, I brought Lantern, I brought Stoneblade. And I eventually settled on Rhinos. I'm like, I'll play this. I put the deck together. I never actually played it. I probably should play this. And right before the tournament, one of our friends, Elijah, was like, "Hey, do you have any Flooded Strands?" I'm like, yeah, I have. I have a couple OG Flooded Strands in Stoneblade. So yeah, take those. That's fine.
Nice flex.
And then Waldo, which if any long-term viewers, he was one of the first guests, or was the first guest on the podcast. So he came. He's like, "I forgot my deck. I'm going home." And I'm like, "Hold on, no. I got a deck for you. Here's the 2 decks." He's like, "I'll play Rhinos." Okay.
Decision made. Yep, you let him make that choice.
Yep. Worked out for me. He did really well. Gave me some of his prize support.
So he did really well and gave you some of his prize support. What does that mean for you?
Oh, I didn't get prize support. I got trashed by everything. I'll put it this way. When you go like your opponent goes Ragavan, then you go like Lantern of Insight. He hits you, takes your Mishra's Bauble off top of your library, plays his own Dragon Rage Chandler, then plays your Bauble, surveils, and then the next turn he hit like I think it was a Bell, so he gets to choose what he draws every turn plus what he draws off the top of my deck every turn.
Yeah, that's a bad way to start the night.
It didn't get much better.
So you're gonna build red-black?
I don't know. I did find my Ragavans.
Oh, nice.
2 of them.
Speaking of which, did you by chance get my Ragavan back?
I did. I have that as well.
Oh,
and good
sweet
news, Doofer finally traded for his 4th Ragavan, so you should be able to keep a hold of your play set from now on.
Wonderful. Now when they get play marks on them, they'll be mine.
Right.
So that's cool. So the rest of the night also went that way.
I think I went like 1-3, 1-4. I only won like 1 match. The end of the game, end of the night, last round, I conceded. I wasn't really feeling like playing at that point. Plus, like we were so far out of prize contention that I didn't care. But hey, anytime I can get out, have some fun.
Right.
It's nice. We got Mystery Booster. What is it? The Convention Edition is coming to stores, as people know. And this Saturday, we're actually going to have a draft of that.
Excuse me?
Yeah. This Saturday at noon. I won't be able to make it myself. Work commitments start picking up for the next week, but
tell me about it. It's
Convention Edition Mystery Booster. Mystery Booster itself, just like, I don't buy boxes. I bought a box of Mystery Booster because it was just ridiculous value.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you say that. And this is like one of those things, whenever you notice something odd going on with the price of a card or people talking about it, I always wonder, what does somebody else know that I don't know? And just the last 2 or 3 days, I've really seen an uptick of people selling the playtest cards on Facebook
That would be
groups.
why. That would be why.
And now, right, now that you've said that to me, I'm like, holy crap. Obviously, they realize that there's going to be another Sliver Drazi or whatever it is, the Eldrazi Sliver. There's going to be a lot more of those probably in circulation.
Yeah, there was so little in circulation before, like, which I was okay with because they weren't playable Magic cards, but like, still a Magic product, still a really cool collectible. And depending on who you play EDH with, you can definitely do that. But like, so little in circulation. I'm sure the prices were jacked up, and now they'll plummet for sure, depending on how much product's out there, I should say.
Yeah, that's going to be the tricky thing. Not to keep beating a dead horse, but I found out that 5 different restaurants in our local area were all shut down over the weekend for COVID cases there, or like people that were exposed that were working. And so when it's 2 weeks before the kids, when I say kids, I mean that very broadly, young adults, whatever, 2 weeks before our state gets flooded by people that all want to go to college in Maine, they're already shutting down restaurants for cases of the Delta variant and stuff. It's a little sketchy. I don't know how many shops are going to be able to sell those or have live drafts. They'll be able to sell those boosters for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that stuff will get opened. It'll get opened one way or another. I'm just thinking about drafts and thinking about, again, on I think on your campus too, but on my campus, we're going back to, unless you're alone in your office, you're wearing a mask.
Yep, same. Outside, we don't have to right now, but
Oh, there you go.
I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah.
No, and the interesting thing will be, how does this affect Innistrad, right?
Oh,
like
man.
If things start shutting down, now all of a sudden Innistrad becomes Ikoria again. I think it was Ikoria when we first started shutting down. Whatever set that was anyway. Like,
yeah. Now people are not running to the stores to buy packs, although WotC still had their best year. They sold as much product as ever. So,
well, they made a lot of products. and like secret layers and everything, commander decks. I mean, commander, wow, let's be real.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because the one thing that we were going to talk about today was commander related. You stumbled across a video from DJ, also known as Jumbo Commander, who is a writer for Cool Stuff Inc.
Yep.
He's a notable content creator personality, but that was not something that you knew a few weeks ago when you stumbled onto one of his videos.
No, so essentially what I stumbled upon was back in February of 2020, so about a year and a half ago, he put out this video, and it was titled 100 Budget Staples for only $25, or 100 EDH staples, budget EDH staples for for $25. I'm losing it. It was not $100. It was 100 cards.
100 cards, $25, budget staples.
Right? Like, essentially what happened was, I was like, no, I'll watch this video, whatever. I'm kind of curious. And I made it a minute 15 in. They weren't done the intro yet. And they said, there's a link to buy all the cards right in the description. And I'm like, okay. So I just bought them all. And because it just linked to a tapped out link. And then, of course, tapped out always links to a TCG player where you could just import everything. So I have 100, what they're calling EDH staples.
Okay.
I paid about $42 for it. So just to kind of picture, obviously they're talking about, here's a whole bunch of cards you can get that are cheap.
Yeah.
Partially they're going to go up, so get them now. But also you can just get a bunch of good playable cards for cheap. Yeah. Over a year and a half, they've gone from 25 to 42.
Okay. And, when DJ was doing that video, was it, you know, it was like you said, it was not an investment video. It was these are good cards to have, and he says they're budget cards to build an instant collection for EDH. And just inadvertently, that has appreciated almost 100%.
Yep, close. Within 2 years, like I'd say another 6 months, it'll probably be $50.
Yeah. So here's my question: what do you get for your money?
I mean, it's a good question. I don't know.
I was just gonna say, you told me you were gonna wait.
So here, I'll put my camera down. So essentially, I got 2 packages in the mail, and I have 99 cards here because I don't know if I can flip my video over. Let's see if I can just rotate. Nope, I don't think I can. Well, we'll do everything upside down for the camera. But like, I got 2 packages, and then there was a Mere Battlesphere that like was a separate package that just didn't go through for whatever reason. But yeah, I haven't opened any of these. I've seen the top card. That's kind of it.
So you did a click this button, load everything into the shopping cart, order it. Didn't really pay attention to what you were ordering. This is so when Andy told me that he did this, I was so intrigued and was like, okay, I want to know what you got. And so he agreed not to open these packages until we could cast.
Right. So I guess without further ado, we can kind of go through some stuff. This was the second package. Most everything came from TCG Player Direct, which may have also brought the price up a little bit. I will say it actually was the cheapest price, but sometimes TCG Player Direct doesn't give you the cheapest price. But I like getting all my stuff in one package. So, and then this is stuff that they did not have. So cards here, Titanic Hellion.
What is that?
We're going to say that a lot, I think. Let me see what I can do here. Not a lot. Oh baby. Oh man, this is rough. We didn't play test this.
We did not play test this. We are making Austin Walker famous though.
Right?
Oh dear God.
We don't need to go into that story today. We can in the future probably.
I'm getting seasick.
All right. This is awful. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna figure something else out.
I think you should just put your camera back on you.
Yep.
Name the card. Tell me what it is. The other thing I can do is we could maybe just look the cards up on TCG as you read them.
Okay. So Titanic Hellion. And I'm not gonna read everything, but if we have a question, I guess I can. 7 mana, 8/5. Actually, you know what would be easier than you going to TCG Player?
Hellion?
Let me send you this. I'm going to put this in our video chat. And then you can just kind of click on stuff. That might make it a little easier for you.
Okay, and this appears to be alphabetized.
I was gonna say, yeah, you could, if it isn't alphabetized, you can sort it alphabetized. So creature, Titanic Hellion, 5 mana or 8 mana, 8/5 haste. When it attacks, each player controls the most lands, sacrifices 2 lands.
That's neat.
Don't know about a staple, but
yeah,
definitely very, very playable card.
Sure. I only play one red deck in EDH, but I've never seen anybody cast this against me.
Nope. Same. We have Hedonist Trove of Enchantment. This is a 7 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target opponent's graveyard. You can play land cards, and you can cast 1 non-land card a turn of those cards that are exiled.
Boy, this is another 7-drop. But made for Commander. Cool card. Never seen it. All right.
Creature Zertar Druid. It taps for mana. It's 2-drop that taps for mana, but it does 1 damage to each opponent every time it taps.
Oh, no,
I remember
that's
this
cute.
being very good in drafts. I don't remember what original set it was from. This is definitely a reprint that I have here.
That's interesting. And this is Gruul, so this is red-green. Only taps for green. It's a human. Huh.
Now we'll open up the big packages. We got Garna the Bloodflame.
Garner the
5
Vote.
mana through.
Now that
Gardener.
one we know.
Okay. Migratory Route. Do you remember that one?
I do remember that one, but I remember that one from a very funny video. Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I'm thinking of what was the MTG Remy migration that you cycle and draw?
Sir. Yes. Yes. Starts with a C.
Circuitous Route? No.
Yes.
So Migratory Route is a 5-mana sorcery, 3 white, blue. Create 4 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying, or you can basic land cycling it for 2. 5 mana, create 4 birds. Yeah, okay. Never seen it played.
Tectonic Reformation. I think that's a real card.
Tectonic Reformation.
Enchantments.
Yes, I feel like this is a real card. 1 and a red enchantment. Each land card in your hand has cycling for a red. The card itself also has cycling 2 to discard and draw a card. 13-cent card.
So this next one, I guess a little backstory. I have one EDH deck that is banned at Brad's house.
Yes, you do.
And that deck, the only win con is to get everyone else to quit playing the game. It just makes the game miserable. And I found a new card for it. This is an artifact called Aeon's Engine.
An artifact named Aeon's Engine. For 5 mana, it enters the battlefield tapped. If you tap and exile the engine, reverse the game's turn order. Okay. You know what's that's really sweet with, don't you?
What is it?
Well, besides you messing with everything in the game, it's really good with Karn, the Great Creator, because you can replay it from exile.
That's true.
So you could almost do the Pramicon thing where it's like everybody has to go in one direction. No, everybody has to go the other direction. Gets back to me. Pull this out from exile, replay it, sacrifice it. Everybody goes the other way again.
Which the funny thing is, it's not a sorcery speed exile either. So essentially, if you're playing in a 4-person pod, the person diagonal from you, you could just lock them out of the game. Just by, you played on your turn, you pass to the guy to your right, sacrifice it, turn comes back to you, you play it from exile, turn goes to the person to your left, sacrifice it. You get to eventually restock Karn, but it's interesting. I don't think it's a good card, but I'm going to play it.
I've never had it played against me, so Aeon Engine, very interesting.
Commander's Insignia. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. 4-mana enchantment.
Again, so these are so interesting. It's like, yeah, these are all 15, 20, 30-cent cards. I've never seen anybody play one. So is this like, this is not like, here are 100 EDH staples that you're going to see in every deck.
No, this is more like, here's 100 cards.
Have fun,
you can
kids.
play them if you want them.
Have fun, kids. I mean, I'm scrolling around. I'm seeing some names of real cards.
Yeah, so next one, Increasing Vengeance is a real card. 2 mana, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, or you can pay 5 mana to flash it back. If you flash it back, you copy that thing twice. that gets played in some Storm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Flashback for 5, though. Damn. The nice thing is
stuff. Oh, Dust Mantle Seer. That card used to be really good in Standard. Flying, 4 mana, 4/4 with flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player reveals the top card of their library, loses a life equal to that card's converted mana cost, then puts it in their hand. It's a Bob for everybody.
That's interesting. I wonder, like, could you play this in a turns EDH deck where you want to take a bunch of turns and just burn people out by their own decks?
Potentially. The only thing is, like, a lot of the turns cards are really high CMC. I think you want to be playing some low stuff.
So because it's
but if you can manipulate the top of your library, then absolutely.
Because it is each player. Yeah, you got me there. All right, so much for dreaming. What's next?
Loyal Drake is a 3 mana 2/2 flyer. It says at the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you control your commander, draw a card.
A 3 mana?
I've never seen this played. Seemed really good.
Yeah. I mean, just if you have your commander in play, you draw an extra card in your combat step. I'm in.
Seems solid to me. Yeah, no. Absolutely.
Now I'm intrigued. Looks like Loyal Drake was a... Going to go over to TCG Player, look this up. This was obviously a Commander printed card.
Yep.
Commander 2018 is its only printing. Near mint copies are a whopping 50 cents plus 78 cents shipping.
Always interesting looking at that stuff too. It's uncommon. That doesn't mean anything.
No.
It's only been printed once.
It's only been printed once. It was 1 out of 100 cards. As rare as anything else in that deck. Huh. That's funny. So Loyal Drake is basically in the art and in the flavor text, it's saying that it's a carrier pigeon. Doves and pigeons are too subtle. When I send a message, I want it to have some teeth. So they're sending messages with this Drake. If the message is, I'm going to draw a card on my combat step, that's pretty good. I want to hear it. All right, what else you got?
So I'm just going to go through some things quick. We have a reality scramble, which takes a card that you own, puts it on the bottom, and then you keep flipping the top card until you hit something with the same. You possibility storm until you hit something with the same type. It's a sorcery. Warmonger's Hellkite is a real card for Dragon decks. It's not great, but definitely is a thing. Makes all creatures attack each combat of Fable. That's not just yours; it's everybody's.
Oof. Yeah, that can be pretty.
Wonder. Good. It's funny. There's a few cards in this that I've seen because just on the top of my other pack I see Bag of Holding, and then Wonder in this set. Cards that didn't exist in the printing I got them in a year
ago. So when he called Wonder, you couldn't get the.
There was no Modern Horizons 2 Wonder yet.
Yeah, but that's the version that you got?
Yeah, because it was the cheapest version. Yeah. Just how TCG kind of imported stuff. Deep Forest Hermit. That's a
Legolas said he likes Deep Forest Hermit. That's kind of his thing. He's kind of a Deep Forest Hermit himself.
That's true. Of course, another Modern Horizons 2 reprint. Now, another Modern Horizons 2 reprint, but just a really good card anyway, is Ephemerate.
Oh, my God. That card is trouble. Oh, look at these two studs, says Nikki McGee, which I know is actually Cooley. I don't know why the chat didn't show up on screen. I don't know. He might already be gone.
Well, if you're here, say something again. We can say hi to you for real.
Hi, Michael.
Ransack the Lamb, Spring Bloom Druid, Winding Way.
Yeah, hit me with some highlights.
Here. Oh, Massacre Massacre Girl. Like I'd call that a highlight for sure. Very
Massacre
cheap
Girl?
card. Yeah. So this is the one that says when it enters, all creatures get -1/-1, and then if a creature dies, do it again.
Yep.
A lot of times it wipes the entire board.
Yeah.
And leaves itself. Perhelion 2. That's a hit for sure.
You know, like that right there is an EDH. That's an EDH dream card for sure. For those that don't recall, Perhelion 2 is an 8-mana artifact vehicle. It's a legendary artifact vehicle with flying, first strike, and vigilance. And whenever it attacks, it creates 2 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance that are attacking. It's a 5/5 when you crew it, and you crew it for 4. So, 2 Gideon Knight tokens can crew this thing, attack for 13. Flying, first strike, vigilance on this, plus the flying and vigilant angels. And the angels don't go away at the end of the combat. It's not like Geist of Saint Traff where you sack the angels. These stack up.
You get to keep them.
You get to keep them.
Have a bunch of them.
For your 8-mana investment, you ought to be able to keep your angels.
Some more highlights. Frontier Siege.
What is that?
So that's one of the Karn's enchantments. This is the green one that you pick Khans or dragons. If you pick Khans at the beginning of each of your main phases, so 2 a turn, you get to add green to your mana pool.
Jesus.
And then if you pick dragons, it's whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, you may have it fight a creature you don't control.
Wow. Like, that's an interesting ramp that's hard to deal with. So you play this on 4. In theory, the next turn you have 7 mana in your first main phase, or however you want to do it. But adding 2 in each phase, each main phase, that's powerful.
And one of the nice things is that you play it in your main phase 1. Your main phase 2, you're going to get 2 mana.
Right. So even the turn you play it, you get something. That's like a mega important part of Magic right now is there is not time to wait to get your value next turn. So I think that's pretty sweet.
Underworld Connections, huge standard all-star. Land enchantment that lets you just pay a life to draw a card.
Underworld, yep. Classic. Faux shizzle. Uh-oh.
Oh, Fearsome Path. There we go. This card was reprinted, but I got the old version. It's the 3-mana 1/1 in green that lets you get a CMC 6 or more creature, I believe. Yeah, creature.
Fierce Empath. Yeah. Reprinted in Double Masters.
Yes, that's where it was.
2XM.
Future Sight's always funny.
Oh, the card
Future
Future Sight. Yep.
Hushwing Griffs.
That's a hit. That's a player. Again, hard to... I mean, I guess that card has been printed a bunch, but it surprises me to see Hushwing Griff be 38 cents. And then I think, well, we've got Tecatli Honor Guard. We've got Torpor Orb. But this has Flash. And it flies and can be aggressive.
You got the other... I think the big one is you have the other 2-mana flyer. It's like a 1/2 with lifelink. Can't think of what it's called. Saw a bunch of standard play as well.
Oh, the Hushbringer? Hush. Fuck, what is it called?
Has the stupid art on it.
It does.
With the lips.
Hushbringer.
It is Hushbringer, okay.
Yeah, with the lips floating around it. So that's a 1/2 flyer. And that has lifelink. And death triggers don't happen. So yeah, they really just have eliminated Hushwing Griff. Although Hushwing Griff is a little bit more aggressive and has flash. Okay. What else you got?
Sir Conrad the Grim. Just uncommon, but highly played card.
Highly played card. So that, okay, there you go. That's a dollar card, baby. We're hitting the money now.
Brought back, I think is really cool.
So
white instant, return every permanent that was put in the graveyard this turn.
Close. Two permanents.
Oh, it's just 2. Okay.
Yeah. So I've heard some interesting people talk about this card as being a form of ramp in Boros decks that normally don't have any ramp. Like if you could in a perfect world go fetch land, go turn 2, second fetch land, crack both for white lands, play brought back, put both of your fetches back into play, and crack them, you had a pretty good turn.
So original version of the Lotus ramp deck in Pioneer, when we were very early in the planning stages, was playing brought back, and it was also playing Tail's End in a way that you could play Lotus Field on 3, and then of course Tail's End just said, nope, I'm not going to sacrifice my my 2 lands. Where brought back, if you tap for white, play Lotus Field, sack those 2 lands, then you could get them back.
Yeah. Okay. And that's, I think that's the biggest thing we have to say about brought back is brought back can do some interesting things in very specific situations. It's not an all things to all people kind of card, but it is really cute.
All right, we hit one heck of a clump here. I'm just going to throw out names. Command the Dreadhorde, Death Sprouts, Krenko, Tin Street Kingpin. We have what is that card? You spent a bunch. That doesn't matter.
What is it?
I'm trying to think of what you called it.
What?
It's Enray's Forerunners.
Okay, so
you used to call it your budget Crater Hoof.
Oh yeah, that's a poor man's
Crater Hoof at home.
Crater Hoof at home, exactly.
Judith, the Scourge Diva.
Again, now that card should not be 46 cents.
The card's insane.
There's
it's
no
so
world where that card should be 46 cents. If you don't have a playset, this card is a perfect, it's a Rakdos card, 1 black red, goes great in Martyr decks. It's a legendary human shaman, 2 awesome tribes, humans and shaman. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Other creatures you control. It's not token, it's not non-token, it's not humans, it's not just other creatures. Now, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith deals 1 damage to any target.
The keyword there, any.
Any target. You can take out their creatures, you can take out their planeswalkers, you can take out the opponent. And just thinking about how she plays with Lingering Souls tokens and turns your 4 1/1s into 2 1s and doubles your clock with flyers. That card is busted. I don't understand why it's less than $1. All right, what else we got?
Disdainful Stroke.
Yeah,
the
that's
Eldest
a staple.
Reborn.
Eldest Reborn should be a staple.
Yeah, it technically is a 3-for-1 because of the discard, but who cares about the discard? I'm not trying to play EDH and make people discard cards. But getting to sack a bunch of creatures, it's a lot more than a 3-for-1. But everyone sacks a creature or planeswalker, each opponent, I should say, and then you get to reanimate something 2 turns later. It's
from
really
any graveyard.
Verdant Force, not a great card, but funny story. Our shop, I buy cards online from them a bunch, and then that way I can pick them up when I get in there. But a lot of times there's a really cheap card I want, and you have to spend $5. So what I do is I get really upset whenever I hit that, and I just buy ridiculous cards. So
just to fill up the
Yep. And the last time I ordered cards, I also wanted a set of Verdant Catacombs. So I typed in Verdant. Of course, there was no Verdant Catacombs, but I saw he had a lot of Verdant Forces. And then there was some verdant other things. So I went through the list and I took like 3 or 4 different cards that just had the word verdant in it. And I think I had a double up on verdant force. And so I go in, I'm like, hey, I bought this card. And he's like, pulling up the order. Yep. And I also have a playset of verdants in there. He goes, I hope you don't, because I don't have any verdants. I'm like, you have verdants.
Oh, you have verdants.
Half an hour it took him to find these cards, because wherever they were, he gave up on a couple. He ended up just giving me an entire playset of verdant forces and said, this is good enough. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Walked out of the store and just dumped him right in his mailbox.
Oh, so I remember him posting about the picture of a bunch of cards in the bottom of the mailbox that's outside the shop. Now I know the whole story. This is wonderful. Legolas loves this.
The entire story begins earlier because someone tried to bring in a bunch of video games and sell them, and they were just not worth anything. So he declined. And instead of like bringing him home with them, they brought him out and dumped him in his mailbox.
So our LGS owner wasn't going to pay for them, and ended up stuck with them anyway.
Yep.
Nice. Classy. Stay classy, Bangor.
Pretty much. We'll go through the rest of them here. We'll get a Treasure Keeper.
Oh, now there's another one. Talk to me. This was a card that when it was printed, people thought, oh, this was going to do something broken. It never did. Treasure
Keeper dies. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card with CMC 3 or less. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put all the revealed cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay. So it's essentially you're trying to break this with 0 CMC cards, most likely. But it's just not as good as Cascade.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically this dies Cascade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Read the Bones.
Staple-ish for cheap card draw.
Gutter Snipe. Again,
man, they just reprinted a beautiful version of that card, and it sees no play.
Archaeomancer. Actually, I play it in the deck.
Is it a Storm deck?
It is.
Yeah.
Archaeomancer.
Bastard. Archaeomancer, you play the shit out of that card.
I don't anymore, but I definitely used to. I took that deck apart. But
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Of course. Acidic Slime.
Staple.
Factor Fiction. Sphinx of Urhun. I remember this card. I don't think this is good enough to see a lot of play anymore, but definitely a card you could play. It's just not going to be in the really strong decks.
I don't understand any of these 2-pile cards. Yeah.
It's Staples is a weird word.
Staples is a weird word.
Urban Evolution. My favorite board wipe of all time. I'll give you a hint. It costs 2 blue.
For a board wipe?
For a board wipe. It's my favorite one.
2 blue. Oh. Whelming Wave?
Whelming Wave. This is an interesting one. There's Cloud Blazer in here, which is a 5-mana 2/2 flying. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. We had a card printed in the Return to Ravnica that was 4 mana that did this, and it was a 2/4.
That's interesting. Because this was out around the same time as the energy decks. People were playing this with Panharmonicon. I think Saffron Olive has been playing it still for years in Panharmonicon decks, just to gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. I wonder what the other one is.
I can't remember. It was played in the flying deck. Didn't see a ton of standard play. But
again,
it was 4 mana.
That's a valuable. I should say it's a value card, and it's maybe a blink deck. Could you play this in? Who's the Esper Blink Commander? Brago.
Yep.
This might be a staple in a Brago deck.
Yeah, it would definitely be good in the Brago deck. Fertile Ground. I don't know who's playing that, but you definitely could.
Enchanted
Kender's
Land.
Transformation. We have Oko at home.
It does draw a card. And it's a 2-mana cantrip in green
Okay.
that nerfs a powerful creature.
That turns something into an elk.
This is sort of like, I think about Darksteel Mutation, making something into an indestructible bug is sort of like, that's how you deal with Avacyn in EDH. So I could actually see.
You can deal with a lot of commanders that way.
Yeah. It doesn't kill them. I love
You
that.
can't cast them again. They're still there.
Yeah.
And especially if you're like with the one you said, Darksteel Mutation,
Man, you
giving
can't
it
kill
indestructible.
You
So it doesn't
can't
even
kill
die
it.
to board wipes. You have to whelming wave it.
Yeah. To bounce it back. What's the they came out with another blue spell last year that I just loved, which was the next time a creature would enter the battlefield, it becomes a target copy of target non-legendary creature.
Merfolk was playing that for a little bit. Obviously you see a ton in EDH now with what is that? Avenger of Zendikar.
Right.
You make all the plants more Avengers of Zendikars.
And then their plants come in as plants because it's only the next time.
Right.
But that's what I think of when I think of creative ways to deal with problematic commanders. Like, that's a beautiful one when somebody goes to cast their commander and you're like, oh, well, that's cute. But instead of coming in as your commander, it's actually going to come in as a Llanowar elf. Or better yet,
You got a Steve.
You got a Steve. Not a Steve. I don't want him to be able to sack it.
That's true.
All right. How many cards we got left?
We got just like less than 10. Highlights still left. We get a Plaguecrafter.
Plaguecrafter. That's a real magic card.
Yep. Theater of Horrors. I haven't ever seen this played in EDH, but I don't see why it couldn't be.
Okay, so that's an enchantment. Oh, yeah. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. During your turn, if an opponent has lost life this turn, you may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled with Theater of Horrors, which is cool because it doesn't limit you to one.
Yep. It doesn't say this turn. You can. It's
right. If an opponent has
like
lost life,
hit, but in that like exile a card, you can only play it this turn. No, I can play it 3 turns later as long as they lose life on this turn and I still have this card, of course.
4 mana, Theater of Horrors deals the damage to target opponent or planeswalker. So if you have no other way to trigger it, it's like the whole thing. You get the cake and the icing.
If you're in Grixis and you're holding up counter magic and you don't need it, you just ping something.
Yeah. All right. What else you got?
Wildfire Devils. I like this card a lot.
That's a classic EDH staple. Yep.
Bounty Agents.
What?
Bounty Agents.
I wanted a bunch of this guy. I thought that this guy would actually spike at some point. He's 17 cents right now.
He needs haste. Like, sitting around a turn really hurts him. But in mono white, you don't have enough ways to deal with. I mean, you have a lot of ways to deal with a lot of stuff. Mono white's really good at dealing with stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But not from the creature side.
But you have all the Oblivion Ring type effects. So this having haste would be great. Also, it's saying that it can only hit legendary permanents is pretty rough.
Yeah, that hurts a lot.
You lose. Yeah, you might destroy somebody's commander, but you also lost a creature.
Yep.
This might be cool in a deck that's playing Bounty Agent back out of the graveyard every turn. You could really keep people off of a specific commander. Yeah.
Right.
Moving on.
Very last card is a banger. It's Find Finality.
A banger, he says.
Love that card. The card's so good in Seraph.
Oh.
Put 2 counters on my Seraph. and kill everything else. Put a ton of counters on my Seraph. Seraph never dies. Like, never dies. As long as you don't have too many creatures yourself.
That's a pretty good one. It's interesting. This is a, did you get your $42 worth? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I
got a stack of cards that, like, whenever I make a commander deck, I'll look through it. I got a couple cards that I'm going to put in commander decks now. I wouldn't pay $42 again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
25, I think I would have felt good, honestly.
When that stack of cards was $25, well, I think, I'm certainly not going to judge DJ. He probably also, I feel like, and I feel badly that I'm not as familiar with his content as I could have been for this conversation, but I feel like one of his bents is I'm going to build the $20 EDH deck that's going to keep up with your full-blown.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, if you're selling, like, you're selling this to me and you, like, we're not going to be super interested. I mean, obviously I was interested enough to buy it, but, like, not excited about it, especially after opening it up. Now, little Timmy that just, like, is building a few EDH decks to play with his friends, very new to Magic, probably still pretty young, doesn't have a whole bunch of income. There's a lot of very playable cards in there. Cards that I wouldn't normally see play, but, like, you could get, I mean, I don't know what you'd want to say our EDH decks are, like, for a power level, but I mean, like, you'd get like 70% of what we play, and I would say we play fairly optimized casual decks.
Yep. Yeah.
You could definitely compete in a game with those.
Yeah. There are definitely times where I think my deck is too powerful for my casual group and just hangs in there with the high powered folks. So yeah, I think for $25 it would have been an awesome deal. For $42, I think it was an interesting experiment. It definitely gave us something to talk about. There were no spoilers this week. This is like the first week in 6 months, I think, that hasn't had spoilers.
Right? Like, unbelievable. I even had to, like, pull it up to look right before we started because I figured there must have been something.
They delayed the Jumpstart Horizons from Arena. So those cards actually aren't playable now. Turns out they're going to come out basically the same time that they're really dumping all the spoilers for Midnight Hunt. Great. So people will be cracking all of these cards and playing Arena right at the same time that they're talking about all the new cards from Midnight Hunt. Last time you and I talked, we talked about the 2-mana black removal spell. We talked about the 1-mana shock variant. We talked about Champion of the Perished. But we didn't talk about the cantrip. And I know that you're a man that loves his cantrips.
Oh, man.
What do you think about Consider?
Well, consider this. It's interesting, right? Card's insane. But, like, a lot of people, if you know me, you know, one of the decks I've kind of championed is Twiddle in Modern.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I am a moderator, not that means anything, but I am a moderator on the Discord. Like, I ran the website for a while before we realized that we just don't need a website.
Not yet.
Like,
Could come back.
We've had a lot of discussion about considering Modern, and a lot of people disagree. A lot of people change their minds. Essentially, it's far better than Opt in just about every deck, like, that could play Opt. It's far better because in today's world of Magic, you're really trying to get some value out of your graveyard for most decks. Most grindy decks want to be able to do something in that way.
Yep.
Not sure if it's better than sleight of hand. That's kind of where we're stuck on. And of course, we're talking in a combo shell that doesn't care about leaving up counter magic. But in modern, in a control shell, I think it's really interesting. And I think what's really interesting is being able to play it alongside Opt in like some sort of miracles list where you're playing like a blue-white control, but you're also playing Terminus instead of Supreme Verdicts. Maybe you do play like a copy of Verdict or something, but like something where that card on top of your deck really matters. Would have been so much better if Mystic Sanctuary was still a thing, because then you could throw it away early in the game and then Sanctuary it back. I'm talking about Terminus.
Can you imagine having Terminus and having Mystic Sanctuary and Consider together?
I can't even consider it. But
oh god,
it's just like the card is really good, and it'll see a ton of play in Standard. I think it's going to see a lot of play in some sort of storm type, storm or combo variants in probably both Modern and Legacy. And just even with like fair decks that want to just have a cantrip end of turn, I mean, it definitely beats out Opt. And like if you're playing some sort of 2 or 3 color control in Modern right now, not that deck's really well positioned, but if you are, you're playing Opt. So it replaces that. Card's really good. I don't think it's broken, but it's very good.
You know what I have considered the most about consideration? I'm so upset that they printed the gorgeous Japanese Mystical Archive version of Opt that I think was one of the best arts in that whole Japanese portion of the Mystical Archives. Those were to be my Opts for life. I had the F&M promo pack Opts. Those were cool. They printed these. Holy crap. I had to get my 4. That beautiful blue woman looking up into the sky. And they're going to be useless. That's what I think about that.
That was one of the first things I said, too. Not only do you have that, you have the English Mystical Archive that was good. And then you have the OGs, which were really good, too. I'm
sure. That's probably what you were rocking.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the art's not bad on Consider, but like it's not what we had for Opt. So
whoop. Man. So that was interesting. I enjoyed hearing about those cards that DJ Jumbo Commander had recommended for $25 a year and a half ago. The funny thing is even a pile of crap can appreciate in this game.
We see that.
Like me! Oh, sorry. I'm actually hoping that I get to play Magic this week. Looking to play Hammer Time on Friday. And hopefully you're going to be there. Hopefully I don't have to play against you on Lantern. What do you say?
I would like to play Rhinos if possible.
I don't know that I want to play against Rhinos either. Oh, this is not looking good for me. Well, thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for everybody that listened here on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those places where you listen to your audio podcasts. We do appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at the SnapCast Pod. Andy, do you like to be bothered on the socials?
Not really.
I don't blame you.
I will say I do sometimes stream on twitch.tv/TechFour, and then I also do stream sometimes on this channel as well.
Nice. Do you ever simulcast? Is that what the kids call it when you...
Yeah, I'm not good enough for that, man. That would be 2 different chats. Like, I can't keep track of one.
I can't keep track of one game, man. I have barely even logged on to Arena. This whole getting ready to go back to a full-time on-campus work, gigs. There ain't a whole lot of time in the day, so I appreciate you taking time to spend with us, and to everybody else, hopefully we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.